Welcome to abombtozzzax. With me, Colin Holt. And my friends Dan Snellgrove and Jamie Firth. Here they come!
Hello, welcome to abombtozzzax, my favourite Marvel character, where I, Colin Holt, Colin Kenneth Holt III, am taking you on a journey through the Marvel universe, the Marvel Comics universe, telling you everything, every single thing you need to know about every single comics character, from A-Bomb all the way to Zzzax. My companion this week, a man who once killed an entire family of seagulls accidentally while skimming a stone off the seas in his home Kent, his homeland of Kent. It's Mr. Dan Snellgrove. Hello, Dan.
I'm sorry, it was a really sharp stone. I just got carried away. I'm sorry. Yeah,
just science. You just wanted to test the science,
the angles.
And you just get all those seagulls with one, and you did. You bloody did it, mate. Yeah. Dan, how are you?
Really well, really well. Yeah, excited to talk about well, a rather large man, frankly.
A very large man. And a very lithe lady.
Yes, indeed.
And then another man. That's our ordered on the platter today. Who is this large man, this other man, and this lithe lady? Well, today we are talking about Daredevil once again. Daredevil Born Again is out on our screens. I've been enjoying it. I'm on episode 4. Dan hasn't seen it yet, but maybe by the end we could all catch up and do a review. Could be fun. Let's see if Disney will let me give you the codes.
Don't tell Disney. Don't tell Walt.
They listen to every podcast. They really do. On that note, Dan, it's hotting up. We are getting more listeners. The excitement is spreading. We are getting emails. We got an email, a request, an actual request from a man called Pablo, requested a character called Random, who I'm sure you've never heard of before. He appeared in X Factor. He's a fun character. Right. We're going to do him at some point, but Pablo, to really get that request, you're going to have to join our Patreon. You're going to have to go to patreon.com/abombtozzzax, 3 Z's and then 1 X and no hyphen in A-Bomb. It's taken a long time to get here, but it's really happening. Go there. You can join for free. If you join for free, then you're going to get all the reading list, all the things that we're reading, so you can read along with us and get an understanding of what the hell we're talking about. If you pay a little bit, join the Bomb Squad. You can get the complete order, and you can give us some suggestions for characters, and you can hear bonus episodes. And if you join Team Zzzax, you get all that. Plus, you can give us your statistics. You can change where they are in the order, stuff like that. There's all sorts of cool stuff that Nick is busy at the minute working on that. Forgive us, it's taking a while to get there. We've only had the Magneto extra bit of bonus material on there so far, but Nick and I have recorded a zombie one, a Frankenstein one. Me and Dan record one today. There's going to be lots of extra material you can get only if you're a Patreon. So, and if you don't do any of that, please consider liking, reviewing, subscribing, or emailing us at abombtozzzax@gmail.com. Okay, that was very efficient, wasn't it?
Well done, Colin.
Really, I was impressed with myself there. Right, so today we're talking about Daredevil's closest enemies / allies, 2 worst enemies, and another, not a frenemy, a lover-me.
A lover-me.
A lover-me. A lover-me some Elektra. Let's start with lovely Elektra. Oh, God, we were all a couple of kids. Oh, no. Daredevil, by the way, is top. He's top of the pops. He's currently sitting at number 1, the greatest Marvel character ever. And do you know what? I was thinking we're going to do Spider-Man soon. He's in the list coming up, because I think let's just get him out of the way. Let's rip that bandage off. However, and people have asked for Spider-Man. However, Spider-Man, I was like, well, yeah, but he's just going to be number 1 forever then, isn't he? But actually, I don't know. I've been looking at Spidey and I don't know. Well, let's see. Let's cross that Rubicon when we get to it.
Okay, right.
So, Elektra, who is she? Well, she's 5'9" and 58 kilograms. I'll tell you that. She was created by Frank Miller, Daredevil 168, October 1980, and she has had 395 appearances thus far. Do you want to hear a bit of history about her, Dan?
I would love to, Colin, please.
Before we jump into the comics we read.
Yeah.
So, Elektra, how to describe, Dan, that's what I've said, how to describe the enigma that is Elektra Nachios. Sort of a shame.
Nachios? Is that...
Her name is Nachios, which is very close to nachos, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Nick Fury himself once said, she thinks like a woman, but strikes like a cobra. That might sound quite a blasé statement, but apparently they did some science and a brain scan revealed that she's able to access primal instincts whilst retaining human intelligence. In other words, she can react with the speed of an actual snake.
Oh.
But
So, like, if
is
you-
also able to feel things.
Like if you
She's
follow
got
back
one on
her,
Elon Musk. What's that?
If you follow back her evolutionary tree, she goes back to a cobra, perhaps.
Is
If
she part
evolved-
snake? I'm not sure where this came from. Whether I think it's her I don't think it's a mutant thing or
Okay.
an evolutionary thing, but I don't know.
It just accesses that animal part of her brain, which is more like pow, more immediate.
Yeah, she can react with a speed that we wouldn't be able to because we'd be like all thinking in that.
Right, all that thinking. Yeah, gotcha.
Ultimately, she is the ultimate ninja, the ultimate Marvel ninja, except she's not Japanese, she's Greek. And I think she's only Greek because he wanted to call her Elektra, which is a very cool name.
Is that a
I
great
don't know.
name then?
That is a Greek name. Elektra is a character from, I can tell you. Here's my other awful nerdy hobby. Greek myth. Elektra was, oh God, now I've forgotten. I think she was the daughter of Agamemnon. And I think she kills Agamemnon. Oh no, I'm going to have to look this up and research it. But basically she is she's some kind of murderous character in Greek
Right.
plays. There's a play called, this is the worst explanation, there's a play called Elektra that was on recently, might still be on, with Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, playing Elektra. But what I thought was a bit lame is normally it doesn't have the K, and they put the K on the poster. And I'm like, have you done that because she's in the Marvel universe? Not sure about that.
I see.
Okay. Anyway, that's where Elektra comes from. I think she's Orestes' sister. Oh, God. Orpheus? Who's the guy who kills Clytemnestra? These are just words now.
Oh, I don't know.
I played him in a school play. I played him. Anyway, there are a lot of Japanese women, ninja women in Marvel. So fair enough. And Frank Miller's obsessed with these women. If you've seen Sin City or read that, he always has these incredibly beautiful, tough, deadly women. It's a bit of a trope. But this is the first, probably. She first appears in Frank Miller's run on Daredevil, blowing DD's fragile world to pieces with a series of assassinations across his city, wearing as little as is humanly possible without actually being in the nuddy. Elektra works as the Kingpin's top assassin. Matt chases her a bit until he goes, hang on a minute, I bloody know her. We discover that Matt and Elektra, no codename, FYI, go back years. In fact, she's the one that got away. In a series of incredibly hot girls the horny hunk manages to date, she is the first and the hottest. Sorry to Karen Page and your delightful beehive. Matt met her at university. They get on immediately like the couple of reckless thrill seekers they are until Elektra's dodgy father's dodgy dealing catch up with him and he's murdered and Matt gets the blame. Bloody typical, isn't it? Elektra drops out of uni for an indefinite gap year of absolute bloody revenge. She's part... I feel there's a lot of words I've written here. She's part of an ancient order. Okay, this is the explanation, Dan, if you want to know who she is.
Right.
Where's the backstory?
Yeah.
Turns out she's part of an ancient order of ninjas called the Hand. They're the opposite of an ancient group called the Chaste.
Oh, not the foot.
Again, not the game show The Chase. No, they're not called the Foot. They
Right,
should be called the Foot, shouldn't they? They should be. Although in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do you remember there's the Foot Clan?
Of course.
I think that is a parody of this.
Ah.
Because when TMNT first came out, it was a sort of Frank Miller parody. It's all drawn like Frank Miller. It's very violent.
I've already learnt so much in this podcast.
I know, so much
Wow.
info coming at you. It's a nightmare. Anyway, so the Chased, bunch of absolute bloody virgins, both. When I write this, I feel like I turn into a dreadful man. Both Matt and Elektra are taught independently by a grumpy old git called Stick, who's also blind. But Elektra gets kicked out of the Chase for being too evil and probably for not wearing enough clothes. Cover up, love. You'll catch your death, Stick says. But would she listen? Would she heck? So in my mind, I was hoping Jamie's not here. I was hoping he would be, because I think Stick would ideally be played by Foggy from the UK's most treasured sitcom, Less the Summer Wine.
Oh, I see. Oh, and he liked it,
his
didn't he?
stick. He's got a stick
Yeah,
and he's
he's got a
grumpy.
stick, yes.
Get some bloody clothes on, love. That kind of thing. Foggy Nelson would be played by Cleggy, aka Peter Sallis. Compo taking up the role of psychotic Bullseye, and Nora Batty rounding out the cast as the Kingpin. I think we should do more dream casts of Marvel from classic British sitcoms. But then I thought, who is Matt and Elektra? And I thought, well, they could be. Do you remember that couple who are always having it off, and then they get found behind a wall or something? They're like, we weren't doing nothing.
Colin, I must confess, Colin, I researched for this podcast by reading the comics, not by watching the entire back series of Last of the Summer Wine.
It's all locked in my memory, like Greek myths. All right, let's wrap up this beautiful lady. She kills for the Kingpin hundreds of times, but eventually is murdered by Bullseye. Absolute mentalist Bullseye. Don't worry, Doc. The hand will bring you back, which they do. Elektra comes back. She's a sort of anti-hero, kills for money, but only bad people. She works for Shields. She comforts Wolverine when he reverts to a bestial form and for some reason loses his nose. We'll get to that. She gets killed and resurrected a couple more times. Turns out to be a Skrull, which starts a whole thing called Secret Invasion. She joins Red Hulk's Thunderbolts, has a fling with the Punisher. What a life. Till finally she becomes a daredevil herself. And we end sort of happily with her and Matt swinging around as Mr. and Mrs. Daredevil. My favourite thing ever said about Elektra was from the acerbic mutant ice queen, Emma Frost, when she described Elektra as that Greek ninja woman with the faint moustache. That's genuinely it. Also, apparently no one has ever actually seen the movie. There we go. The history of Elektra.
Wow.
Oh, sort of done now. So the appearance you read is her first appearance, Dan.
Yes. So
It's a beauty. And also, not only that, it's Frank Miller's first writing and drawing Daredevil. So he came on as an artist before, then he took over everything from that episode onwards, and history was made.
Oh, well, I mean, this makes sense because I've got written down here, there's that poetry again, first page. As again, you're feeling all the senses of Daredevil as he experiences the city again. Mm-hmm. Hear the moan of a freight barge on the nearby East River, the haunting chimes of a solitary church bell as it tolls the midnight hour. Oh, it's just lovely. I'm in straight away with that kind of stuff.
I love how every issue is like a full epic story with a beginning, middle, and end. You know, it never just feels like a filler.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like by the end of it, you feel like you've read a book.
Yeah, I want that. Definitely.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah. And as you say, this is when we meet Elektra, and she turns up at the uni. With her father and a large man. This is not the large man we're going to talk about today.
This is not the Kingpin. This is just another large bald man. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bodyguard.
So, she's someone important. You get the feeling at this point. And then, well, Matt turns into a bit of a charmer, doesn't he? He realizes, yep, she's the one for me. And in spite of the fact that the big bald man is trying to say, no, you're not going near her. Oh, he sneaks a rose from somewhere. After he gets Foggy to throw a paper aeroplane as a distractor, then chucks the flower in, and then
leaps over her head, doesn't he?
He does a leap over her head.
Well, he realizes she's not interested because he's blind, and he goes, "I'm not having that.
I'm not having that. I'm going to show off a bit." So he does a flip, And then he fesses up his entire backstory straight away. It's like, oh, what a simp.
Well,
You know,
to Elektra.
like, it's
What he tells
straight
her all
away.
about battling Jack and so on.
He said, because like he's like, oh, she doesn't like me because I'm blind. Right, I'll do a flip, and then I'll say, look, no, it's not what you think. I've got other abilities that more than compensate. I was hit by a truck, a radioactive canister from the truck struck me across the eyes, blinding me. But yeah, I've got these powers and stuff. It's like, whoa, okay, mate. Like normally the superhero hides that kind of stuff until a bit later on. Now he just comes straight out with
He's
it.
smitten. He's smitten. Also, he's not a superhero at this point, of course. He's but a college kid.
What does it say? He was a radioactive canister from the truck struck me across the eyes, blinding me. And then he says, but later found my remaining senses incredibly heightened. I can hear the faintest whisper, even a heartbeat. I can smell a rose from 100 feet away. Honest, please love me. You know, it gets a bit much. So he's sort of showing off a bit there about his super senses and stuff.
I felt it quite. I felt it seemed real and believable. Obviously, not him leaping over her head, but just the general feeling of him at uni, her at uni. It took me back to the days when I used to leap over ladies' heads.
Yeah, it took
I
me
had to
back
carry a
when
little
ladies...
trampoline around with me everywhere. I couldn't do it without.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah,
I'll start jumping. How about
I
now?
did a sort of slow forward roll around them, circling them, just forward rolling until they finally sort of went, all right, let's go for a drink.
Wow.
Not quite. Yeah.
But I do agree. I did think it felt pretty real. And what I've described there of him kind of like being a bit showy offy and perhaps, I don't know, perhaps slightly awkward again around the beautiful woman, it did feel real and relatable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. So there's a bit of work going on in the garden because it's my bunny Ned is out there and there's been some foxes around.
Oh.
My bunny and my buddy, and so I've got to sort of keep an eye on him. So forgive us, listeners, if you can hear a bit of drilling going on outside. But you know, can you hear it particularly, Dan, or is it all right?
No, I can't hear you over all that drilling, mate.
It's probably all right, isn't it? It's probably all
Yeah,
right.
it's
It
all
will
right,
do.
it's all right.
It will do. Forgive us. Yeah, it's great. I put great art with the size. I love the way she throws the size and they bounce off things and hit people in the face, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, I mean, I think is it that I like Frank Miller? Is that it?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a great art, but then she's a strong character, of course. So, what eventually happens is her dad is taken hostage by terrorists. I think Matt dons a mask for the first time in his life, but it's just a red bandana around his head.
It's her scarf, and he was about to
Oh,
give
it's
her
her
the scarf
scarf.
as a present.
Yeah, it's actually her scarf.
It's like, I better put this on.
Goes in to help her. She does reveal she's got some heavy martial arts training at this point already. Yeah, so she's already. So we know she's.
Oh,
We don't know
because
about the hand or the foot.
But they set up the payoff for later, don't they? I say they, Frank,
Oh,
because
yeah.
he says, what is it? Go low or something. He says to her. I'm trying to find it in the comic where she's tied to a chair,
Yeah,
and he comes in. He's like, right, I'm gonna have to rely upon her skills as well. Hit 'em low. That's it. Hit 'em low, olive oil. He says, olive oil, a Greek reference, I suppose.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess so.
Not a Popeye one.
No, I don't think so. Well, I guess it's a bit of both.
Bit of both, right. So hit 'em low, olive oil, and then she swings up, tied to the chair, but she swings her feet up and kicks one of the guys low, and they work together instinctively,
Yeah.
which is lovely, which happens again later on, not to...
Later on, because unfortunately, so all the police are outside this hostage situation. Matt kicks one of the terrorists out the window, which is pretty cool and brutal.
Yeah.
And not very superhero-like. But and the police assume that the terrorists are killing the hostages and just start firing. And unfortunately, her dad, Elektra's dad, is shot. So she leaves university and leaves Matt, and he doesn't see her again for years and years until he's become Daredevil.
Yeah.
And this assassin is going around town taking people out. Who is it? It's Elektra.
And I like the way they framed all of his thoughts about university, because he's sort of I think he's lying on the floor in the rain. Did he take a fall or something, or he took a she's turned up and blooming beating the hell out of him, isn't she? Right at the beginning of the comic.
Yeah.
'Cause he's tracking someone down. She turns up like, no, whacks him around the back of the head with the sigh, gives him a kick around the face, and he's done. But then he realizes it's her, and then he has this flashback of university. And I think that kind of exposition is done really well here.
Yeah.
I bought all of that, so that was great. And then we come back to him waking up on the streets, realizing, oh, she's back.
So she's and it's this painful thing where he loves her, but she's deadly and she's everything he hates. Murdering for money, killing for money.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they find out they're kind of part of this bigger tapestry. The hand and the foot and the fist comes into it as well. So eventually Elektra and Stick discover there's a thing called the fist, which is like a secret order within the Chaste set up to beat the hand. And the way to do it is there has to be a king and a queen. And that's what makes her become Daredevil. At the time, Matt is in jail again. This time he's in jail with a mask around his. They allow him to keep his mask in jail, so no one knows who he is. And then she ends up being Daredevil. So, and learns morality and learns to help people rather than
Did she learn to put some clothes on as well?
She puts a lot more clothes on.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know how that sash works. The sort of long loincloth sash thing. It's bizarre. But she's very cool. She's very cool. And I feel like she never really loses her cool. She's quite a hard character, I think, to develop further, because if you give away too much, she loses the mystique and but I think so it's a writer called Chip Zdarsky who did all that stuff that I just said, and I think he does it really well. So she never loses the edge or she's very tough. She's very mean. She doesn't take any crap.
And what a great
she'll kill you.
counterpoint.
She doesn't care about killing. She's killed hundreds, mate.
I like her. And I think it's a great counterpoint to Daredevil.
Yeah,
The law guy.
Brill. How's that drill sounding? Because it's gone off again. Oh, it stopped now. If you're not really hearing it, I guess we're fine.
There's a little bit, but
Okay. Well, forgive us, listeners. It's very annoying. What can we do? All right, should we move on?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, it's time to meet.
Thumbs up so far.
Thumbs up, big thumbs up from Dan. 2 thumbs up. It's time to meet the Kingpin. Real name, Wilson Grant Fisk. We have a middle name. If we could sound the middle name alarm, please, Daniel. Created by Stan Lee and John Romita in Amazing Spider-Man 50, 1967. 6'7". Oof. 204 kilograms. 638 appearances. The Kingpin of Crime. First stomps his way into the Marvel Universe as a new arch nemesis for not Daredevil, but Spider-Man. In fact, he never even battles Daredevil for over a decade. He is now, however, synonymous with Old Hornhead. There's one issue I kept reading where Daredevil kept referring to himself as Old Hornhead, which was really weird. I guess Old Hornhead better step in again. Very strange. Anyway, Kingpin is a classic old school New York movie gangster. He's actually modeled on the actor Sidney Greenstreet. Did you see that photo I sent?
I did, yes.
That's what he's meant to look like. He played a character in the Maltese Falcon called Caspar Gutman, or the Fat Man. So there you go. It all adds up.
Nice.
I always thought he was meant to be Telly Savalas,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I always thought that was the perfect look for him anyway. When Spider-Man has one of his regular big sulks and gives up web swinging for the umpteenth time, Kingpin seizes his chance and unites all the criminal gangs in New York under his big sweaty fists and diamond top cane, which is a disintegrator cane. I didn't even realize that, but the cane he sometimes carries?
Yeah.
With he can use it. It has a disintegrator ray in it, which they sort of get rid of, which I think is right, because I don't think the Kingpin should have disintegrator rays and stuff personally, but there you go.
Agreed.
He's just very, very strong. And it's great. Kingpin plagues Spider-Man for a while until he finds he has a new name to his pain, Daredevil. Initially using Daredevil to take down his remaining rivals, he then systematically takes apart Matt's life, as discussed in our already legendary episode minutes ago. I'm taking a bit of Stan Lee's marketing style.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
They're already talking about it as the most legendary episode of any podcast ever. Kingpin goes on to become one of the most feared villains in Marvel. He is tough as hell and will crush your skull if you say anything about how hard it must be to keep his lovely white suit clean. Oh, no. We discover more about his past. You may not know this, Dan, but he rose up from the slums. He'd made his first kill at 12.
Really? Oh, it sounds like Gravesend again.
Yes, just like Gravesend.
Oh,
That's where he's from. He decided early on that bulking up and being good at fighting is the first step to power, favouring the art of sumo. He also taught himself science, the arts, politics, all with the aim of creating the biggest criminal gang ever. But a bit like fellow Baldy Lex Luthor, he has managed to maintain an air of respectability using legitimate businesses and call himself a humble spice merchant. I am not a criminal, Your Honor. I've been practicing. It's quite good, right? I am not a criminal, Your Honor. I simply run a delightful vegan cafe selling a selection of herbal teas. For example, that's what I would have.
Great.
Kingpin's rock throughout this is his dear wife, Vanessa, with whom he has a son, Richard, who becomes a supervillain called the Rose, who is eventually murdered by Vanessa. Kingpin nearly gets killed and loses everything many, many times, but always manages to climb back on top like his favourite sumo wrestlers. At one point, he runs the Hand. At one point, he runs the Las Vegas branch of Hydra. And at one point, of course, he becomes the New York City mayor, which is the storyline they're pursuing in the new Daredevil series, outlawing vigilantes before he's finally usurped by Mr. Lucas Cage himself. Where in the real world is Luke Cage right now?
Yes.
Kingpin is also something of a mentor to a series of damaged hot women, obviously Elektra, Typhoid Mary, and Echo. They all tend to realise, hang on a minute, he's a rotter, and try to kill him. Also, like his arch nemesis, Wilson was given his incredibly cool nickname by some bullies attempting to mock him. People are really bad at bullying in Marvel.
Yes.
So my one big thought, and this sort of passes on to the other two characters, I think I'm genuinely scared of him. Like,
oh, yeah.
I think to a point where I know he's a comic book character. I know it's absurd, but I think I'm actually a bit frightened of him in real life.
I don't think
Not
that's
even
absurd.
the performance in Daredevil, which is really, really good by Vincent. But I think it frightens me to read these stories a little bit.
Well, I think because they are like they're a bit more real in terms of like, well, first of all, the power levels. We don't have an all powerful superhero facing an all powerful supervillain. They're real levels. He's got heightened senses. This guy's a gangster, big and intelligent, and combining those two things with his ruthlessness, yeah, that connects and chimes and is real. And,
Yeah.
well, could be out there. Probably is out there. You know.
Yeah, I mean, someone that size.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a little bit pushed, but it's not someone who wearing a porcupine suit.
No.
Bless him.
No.
All right.
Still number 4 on the list, I think.
Sorry, it's a bit soon. I know. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's not the kind of thing you joke about.
Moving on.
Yeah, but this episode is called "The Kingpin Must Die." It has a classic moment where the Kingpin fights in his pants. Did you see that bit?
Well, oh, hang on. Oh dear. Is this?
Have you read the wrong episode? That's fine.
Just checking.
They're all.
Is it? It's the one where Daredevil is doing a flying kick. On the cover. Is he doing a flying kick against Kingpin?
Oh, maybe
kicking him
it
in
is.
the face. Number 171.
Do you know what? I think this time, I read the wrong one, but that's fine because I've read them all before anyway. Yes, I read the one before, stupidly.
I'm not used to this being
Okay,
right.
Don't you worry. Yeah, just give me some thoughts, buddy.
Okay, well, I'm did
scanning
say
through it now as you talk.
Johnny Fiving it, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, so you did say, read this, you'll get the chance to see Kingpin fighting in his pants. Maybe you forgot. I've already seen him fighting in the nude in that
Have you?
previous one. Yeah, when he was in jail in the shower.
Oh, in the shower. Yeah. Oh, that's true, isn't it?
Duffing up a couple of people.
Well,
you know?
so in the 171, which is the one I read, they're both great. 171 or 172 are both great. But he's retired. He's moved to Japan, and then he first appears where he's got 4 men around him, and he tells them all to try and kill him. And they're all, kung fu masters, whatever. And he just decimates them all. And then one of them says something about him being the Kingpin. And because at that point he's retired, he goes, "What did you call me?" And then goes over and literally, it's great where he's like, duffed him on the floor with his head kind of cracked. And then Vanessa walks in and he goes, "Sorry, dear, I'm just showing him. My employee slipped and I'm helping him get up again."
Yeah, it's not what you think. I can explain.
Oh my God, that performance of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, I was watching him Born Again, his hands are just moving constantly. But with some actors, that's really annoying. The actor who plays the Punisher, I don't like. We'll get into that when we do the Punisher, but right. TBC. But his hands are just, when he's just, he's like this ball of, but he's utterly civil and talking in that, "I think you will find that, blah, blah, blah," but just his hands are just sort of rub it. Oh, it's great. Anyway, sorry.
So he speaks well, but
eloquently.
Is he?
As he does here, right? I think he talks very eloquently here, right?
Is he like Chris Eubank?
I guess he's Chris Eubank. He's a bit like, what if he did have a lisp? Maybe. I don't know. And he does have a natty suit and a cane. So he could be, couldn't he? Could be friends with Prince Charles. Was Chris Eubank friends with Prince Charles? I feel like he was.
I can see them together.
He's got his cigarillo as well, which he has in his first appearance. And that sort of goes eventually. In fact, this suit where he's wearing like a white jacket and purple trousers is basically like his superhero costume for ages. It's only much more recently that, like the last 15 years, he just wears a suit. But before that, he basically wore this every time. But that's fine. That's just that's comics, isn't it? I love the bit where Daredevil senses him with his radar sense. I think it's the first time he's seen him. Yeah, he says, "The Kingpin, I've heard tales of this man." And you just see through Matt's radar sense just this horrendous, huge red shape. Because he can only see the shape of it.
Oh, that's
cool.
And
he just realizes how terrifying this guy is.
Well, in the one I read...
Yeah, that is in the one you read. Sorry. Sorry to show you.
Well, when he's in the... he infiltrates Kingpin's organization and tries to find some paperwork in his safe, his kind of walk-in safe thing. Mm-hmm. And he goes in there, and then Kingpin, unfortunately, is all over this and appears in the doorway, and then they have a fight in the safe, basically in the walk-in.
Yeah, vault. And there's where he's punching Daredevil in the face, and you just see his face like collapse under this massive fit, and the completely blank-faced Kingpin, no expression.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It's very terrifying, yeah.
Very David and Goliath as well. I like the idea of this jumping around and kicking and doing all this stuff while this big beast.
Because
I was going to say big fat beast, but
well,
not only is that not nice, but also, as he says, in his first appearance. So I read his first appearance with Spider-Man. And what was interesting was a lot of this stuff's already there. So similarly, he's trying to rebuild his empire. He's taking over the gangs. It feels a very similar stuff is happening. He says, "I'll not deny myself the pleasure of humbling you with my bare hands," at one point. So he loves getting in. He's fighting this. There's this guy called Big Turk, but not the same Turk as from these ones. But anyway, but Big Turk comes in and says, because they think Spider-Man's dead, and he says, "He's not dead. Your Fina's a pack of lies." And then someone pulls a gun on him, and Kingpin says, "No, I'll not deny myself the pleasure of humbling you with my bare hands." And then goes to town on him, and it's beautiful. He takes him apart, and he says, "You're confusing solid muscle for mere fat." He makes this point repeatedly. But then a lovely bit where he's fighting Spider-Man, and he says to him, "You make the same mistake seeing me as a helpless fat man." And Spidey goes, and then he like grabs Spidey by the feet and like whacks him against the wall, which is pretty brutal. But Spider-Man goes, "Okay, you're definitely not helpless, but you'll never convince me you're skinny," which I thought was quite a good comeback. I actually really like watching him fight Spider-Man. Because you never see that anymore, of course. Well, actually, it's in the Spider-Verse. He's the baddie in the the animated.
Right.
If you've heard about that one.
I've heard about it, haven't seen it, and yeah, nor have I seen anything of the Kingpin other than in the Daredevil series, the first one.
Right.
Yeah, and he was fantastic in that, absolutely fantastic,
and a very good, one of the best comics castings I think ever.
Right. Well,
Don't you think? As in this, as in the guy who plays him, I don't think you could do a better job.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Apart from what you've just done there yourself.
Yes. Vanessa. It does loads. Very briefly, a couple of other comics that. Oh, Dan, you've got another point?
No, because you said Vanessa there.
Yeah.
I wanted to just ask about her because in the comic I read, it's awful. Kingpin watches as an entire building collapses onto Vanessa because she's taken hostage. And then at the end, in the swap, he's trying to give the papers that they're after in order to get Vanessa back. And I think is it Bullseye who causes the whole thing to collapse. It's like a construction site, and all these girders fall down onto her. And there is Kingpin. He's busted up because a girder's fallen on him, but he's pulling these girders away, trying to find her. But well, it would appear she's no more.
Yeah.
His connection to this woman, Vanessa. Can you tell me a bit more about that? And what is Vanessa like? Is she just this perfectly innocent?
She's in the previous episode. What's happened is he's she's got him to retire essentially, but then she goes back to New York to hire a lawyer who happens to be Matt Murdock. Can't exactly remember why, but the Kingpin realizes this is kind of a plot by the other gangs who want to get rid of him. Even though he's retired, they kind of want his name. They want to be the next Kingpin. So it ends up this situation where the Kingpin's coming to New York himself. And then this poor Kingpin underling is tortured for 3 hours to reveal the name of where Kingpin's going to land, where his plane's going to come in. It's like a secret airport, And then they all get there. And when they get there, it all explodes. And the Kingpin set the whole thing up to wipe out the other gangs. So it's like, but then he regrets it because obviously now Vanessa is killed. She does come back. I know she comes back. I'm not sure how that works. I think she hasn't actually died. But yeah, the fact that he has this, and I think, again, they do it very well in the series. And this, he is, in the series, they're literally relating him to Trump's, becoming mayor. They've literally got people saying, Fisk will fix it and stuff like this. And it's very well done, actually. It doesn't feel ham-fisted or anything. But as I'm reading it, I'm like, the thing is, there is loads of connections to Trump. And actually the Byline Times, which is the only newspaper I'm reading at the minute, because it kind of gives you, it's not like, it's frightening news, but it's sort of done over a week. Does that make sense? We're sort of saying this is everything that's happened this week. You need to know, as opposed to just 24-hour terror sort of thing. Anyway, the cover of it is Trump, it says mob boss, and it's literally, he could be the Kingpin on that cover. Oh my God. It's with a weave, with whatever that is on his head. But the big difference, I think, is that he has empathy, and he does have, even though he's black of heart and able to do anything, he's not emotionless. He's intensely emotional. And his love is like all encompassing, and he will kill anyone who comes near, but not just like in a kind of like, if you touch my bird, I'll kill you sort of thing, but like as in her dignity and what she represents to him. Yeah. Because he's come from the slums and he's risen up in a way, obviously Trump was handed it all and essentially, well, I was going to say threw it away. He's now president. He didn't exactly throw it away, but you know what I mean? Yeah. And also he doesn't have any of that dignity or sort of self-respect, does he? But the Kingpin has this. So I think that's the big difference.
Kingpin's better.
Basically, yeah. And actually, Devil's Reign 2021, #1, just a little mention of this, because that's where Kingpin becomes mayor. He says at one point, my power was all about secrets. It was never about intelligence. It's all about what secrets you have. They do a bit of a, the spider in Game of Thrones. They give him a bit of that element, which is pretty cool. And also that features Mike Murdoch. You remember Mike Murdoch?
Oh,
Matt's twin brother,
Yeah.
who then somehow becomes real, even though he's fictional, through some magic. Kingpin
Magic
goes,
Mike.
Yeah, Magic Mike. Kingpin goes to Matt's house. Mike's there. He thinks it's Matt and crushes his head.
Oh.
So Kingpin kills Mike Murdoch, but he does kind of have a happy ending, because in the end he leaves the mayor behind and gets on a boat with his, Vanessa's dead by this point, but with Mary, who's his next big love, and they go off a boat into the sunset. So the only reason I say that is because even though Kingpin is this awful person in real life, if he existed and in the comics, they do make him, they do kind of give him a happy ending. So I think that shows how much he's loved as a character, weirdly.
Well,
No,
I think,
like, as in,
yeah.
we like him despite everything.
I really felt for him in this bit when he's trying to desperately save Vanessa under the girders. Yeah, I felt it. I think, if anyone's demonstrating human emotions that we all have, but then you dial them all up, really feeling, then there are times when we have felt our emotions crank through the roof. I really love the fact that Vanessa is this, well, I mean, you could say in some ways weakness, or Achilles' heel that counterbalances both him being strong and intelligent, which, you might say, oh, is he, are they going into overpower territory? But, like you've seen the Hulk softened by, a child, or by something soft and beautiful, such as it is here as well. I like that. I think it's a good.
And I also like the idea, and I think they do this in the series, and I think they do it in the comics, that she's not, it's not like a gangster's moll. It's not like she's just very young and hot. It's about her. She's an artist, isn't she? And she's like, it's her inner beauty. So he sees that. He's not a kind of, he's not classless or classless as in, classiness, as opposed to, he's it's great. Lovely character. Awful, horrible. Right, finally, in 5 minutes, we have to go. Let's talk about Bullseye. What a bastard. Created by Marv Wolfman, best name in comics, and William Robert Brown, in Daredevil 131, December 1975. 333 appearances. Lester Benjamin Poindexter. Apparently this name is in dispute. I don't know why.
In dispute.
In dispute. Sometimes he's just called Lester. Sometimes he's called Lester Benjamin Poindexter.
Okay.
He is an absolute menace. He can kill anyone and anything, even a puppy, using anything around him, even another puppy. And he will as well. And he'll laugh while he's doing it. In his first appearance, he instantly becomes Dee Dee's deadliest enemy. To be fair, before that, he had Stiltman, Manbull, and the Matador, who is literally just a matador. We must cover him soon. Like the most evil of baby ducks, Lester imprints on Daredevil, alternately deciding he's the actual devil, or he loves him, or he just wants to wear his clothes. Bullseye's very weird, really not well. He wears a big target on his head. He's bloody asking you to kill him while killing you with a puppy. But no one can, except Daredevil, and he won't do it, even when Bullseye kills his girlfriend. Bullseye works for Kingpin, but he'd probably do it for free. Apparently his first kill was during a baseball game when he got so bored he decided to throw the ball hard enough to murder the batter. This kid is a nightmare. After making Matt's actual life hell on earth, or his life actually hell on earth, Bullseye finds himself completely paralyzed, tortured regularly by Matt, who sneaks into the hospital and pretends to play Russian roulette with him, until a weird ninja guy called Lord Darkwind gives him some lovely adamantium to his skeleton, yes, like Wolverine, and he's back on his feet. Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, forms an Iron Man-sponsored group of supposedly reformed villains, the Thunderbolts, and he picks Lester as his secret assassin. Bullseye is brought in when the others have failed to kill everything he sees. He escapes, but is paralyzed again. Doe. And after the Skrull secret invasion, Norman takes over S.H.I.E.L.D., forms his own group of Avengers, and Bullseye joins, masquerading as Hawkeye. He can't help himself and kills everyone again. Of course, it all falls apart. Bullseye goes back to throwing things at people for fun and profit. Like with this podcast, it's not work if you love it. That's Bullseye. Okay, well, you read the one issue. Did you read 181?
181 I read, yes.
This is kind of the culmination of the first bit of Frank Miller's epic story. Dan, what did you think?
Well, I mean, you said to me, "Oh, I think you'd be a good Bullseye." You messaged,
Yes.
and then he turns out to be perhaps the biggest bastard of anyone I've read so far.
I think I just think you could play him well. Menace with a smile. I like that he's always smiling, isn't he? He's always, apart from when he's really annoyed. But even when he's annoyed like a kid.
Yeah.
Like a teenager.
He is.
I'm
To be quite honest,
of a teenager.
I do actually think he would be a really fun character to play. And he's got blue eyes. I've got blue eyes. So I'll take the job.
Good start.
Yeah, well, this one starts with a very strong image of Daredevil being sniped in the head. And you're like, okay, strong start. But it's all just in the mind of this bad man, Bullseye, who's plotting his revenge. Boy, does he want revenge. It's all he can think about, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He really wants to get Mr. Daredevil. But he's plagued by these awful headaches. Does that come from somewhere in particular?
I think he's got a tumor.
Oh, right. Oh.
But I got confused because I know he has a tumor at one point and he gets it removed. And there's a bit where they're like, this cop says to Daredevil, "Are you happy with yourself?" Because he's just going to kill again. Like, as in you could have killed him, but instead you brought him into hospital. And then the last thing you see is them saying the operation was a success. It's really good.
I see.
But so I'm not sure why he's still getting the headaches, but I don't know whether that's just... He's always on this... Bullseye always seems to be on the edge of dying at any point.
Yeah. Okay, so he does have that on the edge feel for sure. Yeah. And like the headaches are so bad that he needs this pill to, a paracetamol, I suppose, or something.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen.
Aspirin.
And the security, not the security guard, the prison guard uses this as a bit of a, how do I get it? How do I get it out the bottle? Oh, is it clockwise, anti-clockwise? Oh, and taunts him a little bit. Bullseye promises that he's going to get him, and he gets him. He does get him in the end. Bullseye gets taken onto a TV show to be interviewed, and that's his chance to escape. And as he's walking out, he's like, "Oh, I forgot. I said I'd kill you, didn't I?" And then boom, takes out.
He says Harry. It's dumb but fun.
Dumb but fun, yes.
It's dumb of him but fun of him to do it.
And then all the alarms go off, and the noise of an alarm, I don't know if you know, is Aruga.
Like on Robot Wars.
Yeah, or like I thought of John Fashanu from the 90s Gladiator. But that was Awooga.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, well, there you
go. I don't remember that. You think I'd love that, wouldn't you, men in tights and stuff? Hello, listeners. You won't know this, but I had to... Well, I mean, you might know this, and if you do, that's very freaky. But I had to run to get the kids from school. So there was a little pause there. We can't remember where we ended off, but I'm sure it will make perfect sense. I think Bullseye just escaped from prison. Oh, by the way, did you notice the man who convinces him to escape from prison? Who that is?
No. Is this like a little bonus?
Yes.
Oh, no.
There's a guy who says to him...
Oh, is that Punisher?
It's Frank himself, yeah. Frank, the Punisher. He basically gives him a way of escaping, does he? Or suggests he should escape?
Yes. What's he playing at?
Well, he says, oh, no, that's it. He tells him that Kingpin's got a new assassin, Elektra. And he's saying, "Why are you telling me this?" And he says, just want to see what happens. Just I think you'll probably get yourself killed.
Chances are you'll do something dumb and get yourself killed. I'd like that.
Yeah. I mean, Frank, by doing this, you do actually inadvertently kill 3 or 4 people just from the escape.
I mean... we haven't got to Punisher yet. But
we haven't got to Punisher, but this foreshadows one of the very interesting aspects of Punisher, which is does he actually really want to help anyone, or does he just want to kill loads of people?
Does he just want to punish?
It does come out in the comics in a really interesting way, but we're not there right now. We're on Bullseye. Bullseye has escaped prison. Yeah, but this is something Frank Miller returns to actually in The Dark Knight Returns, his classic Batman opus. This whole idea of, well, the Joker has a whole thing where he goes on TV and on live TV, like, kills everyone and escapes. So yeah, it's a thing he uses again, but it's really effective, I think. So Bullseye goes on live TV to like arrange a death match with Daredevil or something, and then when he does it, like,
well,
it's just like a prison interview, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I think when he's on the TV, does he say that to Daredevil, or does that happen a bit later on? Oh, I'm getting a bit muddled, but he does arrange that match, doesn't he?
Yeah,
seems familiar.
It's a thing of beauty. I'll tell you that for nothing. So what? Any other thoughts from this? Oh yeah, so he escapes. Obviously, he escapes.
Yeah, he escapes on a helicopter.
That bit's great.
It's really cool.
I love the way it's like that to that to that. Do you know what I mean? It's like you think, what is he doing? Oh, why has he picked that up? Oh no, he's using it to kill that guy, and then he's getting that to kill that. But it's like clockwork how it all works. Beautiful.
Yeah, but I imagine he's not like out of all the villains, he's not like super intelligent or anything like that. It's not that he can spot all the things. It's just I think he's so driven by this revenge that I'm just seeing him just like seeing the thing, doing the thing, not knowing if the next bit's going to work, but just.
I think he knows how to hit a target from anywhere with anything.
Oh, is that his thing?
Yes, so he can pick anything up, just throw it at you and kill you.
Oh right.
Did you know?
Well, I mean, I wasn't because he does quite a lot of cool stuff.
He does. No, he's not just that. To be fair, he also kicks people and
there's some kicking, there's some punching.
That's his number one thing with Bullseye, is that he can turn anything. Actually, in a minute I'll tell you about his first appearance and I'll explain how that comes about. But the bit with the helicopter, the helicopter comes to stop him. Is it a media helicopter?
No, it's a guy with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, it's a sniper rifle, but he throws something at the sniper rifle guy, knocks him out the helicopter.
He's run out of bullets in the gun. Yeah, because he nicked the gun off of the prison guard. Yes, he shot out the two the spotlights of the prison, and he's like, I've done it now. What am I going to do? I've used up the 2 bullets. Can't climb up the walls. Then the helicopter turns up. Got an idea, mate. I've got this. He's an opportunist. He's turning everything to his advantage. Yeah, I've got to admire that. Yeah, I think it's not, like you say, it's not intelligence so much as instinct. Just, I think he is in the way Daredevil can't see. So all of his other senses, Bullseye can see everything in a way. So he is the perfect foil. He can see, if I do this, then that will take out that person. Then this object I can throw at that angle, and then it will. Do they actually think like that, the designers? Like, as in, okay, what's the one thing Daredevil can't do? See, let's make an all-seeing villain. Possibly. I mean, but I like it. I reckon so. Well, it was more. Frank Miller didn't create him. Frank Miller certainly took him to new heights, but it was Marv Wolfman who created him. I just have the surname Wolfman. That is the actual surname of Wolfman. I wonder where it comes from. It can't actually mean like a wolfman. It must be like, it's probably like a man who owns a sheep or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And they turned out they're from very, very banal origins. Anyway, with the helicopter, he then grabs the microphone that he used to tie up the presenter, throws it around the helicopter, then pulls himself up. Then the bit that I found sort of made me laugh, but was also hideous, proper Tarantino stuff. The other guy in the helicopter, he just grabs him and throws him out. Just hear him go, "No, please, no!" Yeah. What a dude. A bad dude. A bad dude, but a capable dude. And then he beats up some more people. All the assassins. All of Kingpin's new assassins, I think, replacement assassins. He's like, Elektra's has replaced Bullseye as Kingpin's top assassin. That's what pisses Bullseye off. But there is this guy called
something Slaughter, like Mike Slaughter.
Mike, Dave, Stuart.
Dave Slaughter. Yes, it sounds like one of your mates.
It does.
Oh, Dave Slaughter. Yeah.
Oh God.
He's all right, love. Yeah, you don't want to get him drunk now. Dave Slaughter. Oh no. Yeah, but anyway, Dave Slaughter is like, he's not the top assassin, but he kind of runs a group of assassins, I think.
Right.
He's more like a gang leader, but works for the Kingpin as well. But I love that bit where they're all hiding in this little hideout, little shack, talking about their plans. And one of them smoking a fag, and Bullseye just appears at the window and takes a cigarette. Sorry, for American Lizards, just takes his ciggy off him. He's like, "Where's my cigarette?" And then he's smoking. Oh, it's so sinister.
And I agree. I think by creating like really realistic moments, like people just sat around waiting. Yeah, one of them's going to be smoking, and then I think maybe that leads to the ideas of like, you know, like in the previous one where there's like everyone sat around drinking coffees, waiting for I can't remember it was the Serpent Society. We saw their group.
Oh yeah.
And they were all just sat around drinking coffee. Someone had spilt theirs. One without arms couldn't actually get to his, unfortunately. But like, I think just by thinking of like, okay, we've got some guys sitting around waiting. What are they going to do? Well, one of them's having a fag, you know, and then they come up with this brilliant thing. I agree. It's really cool.
It makes him so sinister. It's such a small thing. It's such a little, and you just don't know what he's going to do. You never know, and you don't know what his plan is or what. But it's all really basic, teenage level, childish anger. So he's annoyed that he's been replaced as the Kingpin's top person, but he doesn't really care about money or love or any. He wants fame, I think, in a kind of serial killer type way. But even there, it's just to be the best and to beat Daredevil.
Yeah.
And I never really liked, you know, with the whole Joker and a lot of supervillains where it's kind of like, you know, we complete each other and all that idea, and like, I'm nothing without you. Do you know what I mean? You're nothing without me and all that stuff. I never really believe it. I always find it a bit. Whereas with this, I kind of believe his obsession with Daredevil, because he's just painted so mad and maniacal and devious. Brilliant.
And there's a whole not panel, a whole page of him just like laughing drunk as he's like, and he's like working out who Daredevil
he works out who Daredevil is.
Yes, I mean that's pretty smart, I suppose. But I think it's because, I mean, like, you know how like I might get in trouble here, but like if two people are in a relationship, let's say one of them suspects the other one of being naughty, they feel very emotional, they might be driven to all sorts of lengths of deviousness and intelligence and like stalky type behavior to work things out, like somehow cracking the password on the phone to look at the messages and that kind of,
that's hyper focused though, isn't it? That's because your whole everything is focused on that, so you can see it, so he can see it, because that's all he's thinking about is Daredevil.
Yeah And then he cracks it, doesn't he?
I love where he's like, he goes to a court case to watch Matt Murdock doing a case to kind of try and suss it out. And then the best bit, oh my God, it's amazing, when he goes to the morgue. Do you remember that bit? Oh, first, of course, he kills Elektra.
Does he go to after the...
Somehow skipped over that bit, I think.
There's that bit. I do want to ask one thing, though. He gets in a taxi at one point, and he uses a playing card to...
Yes.
Does Gambit know? Like, what the hell?
Do you know what? Funnily enough, I was finding some extra issues for us to talk about in the Patreon, and because do you remember that weird bit, which I've never read, where Gambit apparently got his brain matter taken away by Mr. Sinister in the past, or there's some weird... But anyway, I know in that episode, Bullseye stabs him. So I think maybe it does... Yeah, they do have a little... I'm the guy with the cards. But I think Bullseye, he's a cooler card dude, isn't he? And also, he's not just cards. Gambit's just cards. But that's what... So that was science. If we go Science Corner, please, Daniel.
Science Corner.
Okay, so Dan, even Snelgers, is any of this possible? Can you throw, with the understanding of science you have, is it obviously, you could kill someone with a bottle potentially, or a pen, I guess he's pushing it, but a playing card?
Well, I mean, I've seen David Blaine and like throwing cards across a road, and then
You saw David Blaine kill that guy.
and and then he magicked it all away, and I don't know how he's still roaming around free.
Oh no, he's in prison. He's in.
Oh, thank God! Right. Okay. I mean, all I can say to this is that there are situations where something traveling at an incredible speed, even though it's absolutely tiny, can wreak absolute havoc. So in space, the tiny little like nuts and bolts that have come off of satellites and things, they're whizzing around at great speeds, and they are very, very dangerous to spacecraft that we're sending up.
Oh, has that happened recently? Didn't that happen?
I don't know. I don't know if it's happened recently, but I know that it can like strike one of the thermal protective panels and things, and then re-entry's an issue then.
Because apparently there's loads of crap up there now, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's like become a real. We've just littered space.
Yeah, we're ruining that too, I'm afraid.
So if you drop something off the Eiffel Tower, for example, would that go through someone's head as people? If you dropped a coin, is that a myth or?
Well, because we have air on Earth, and not just space, it means that the faster you go, there is a resistance force pushing back. So at some point, that resistance force balances the force dragging you down, gravity, and you no longer accelerate. You travel at terminal velocity.
Otherwise, it would just get faster and faster and faster. Okay, so that is what terminal velocity is. I really don't understand science. That's the point where that object can only ever travel so fast.
If you just drop it,
right?
Yes, it doesn't matter how further it will drop. That's it.
Okay.
I mean,
so
but,
in conclusion, could
speaking,
he kill that taxi driver with the playing card?
Well, the thing is, he's throwing it, he's flicking it.
It slashes his throat.
It slashes his throat, so it's hitting a vulnerable place. I don't know if it's a sharpened playing card.
Could be a trick. Yeah.
I
feel like he's someone who would cheat a bit to give the impression. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Oh, the only other thing I can add to this is a friend of mine is going for a job in an engineering company, and it's his mate that's getting him in to go for the interview. And he said he got a phone call from his mate once to say that they had managed to fire a Weetabix so fast that it made a hole in a wall or a dent in the wall. So
one Weetabix.
I
mean, if it was two Weetabix, that doesn't really make much difference. But yeah, one Weetabix into a wall without it just smashing against the wall.
Well, this is what I'm quite amazed about. Like, I didn't see it. This is all hearsay.
Is he working in defense?
That's what we're going to be sending over to the Ukraine. No, sorry, okay. I can't make a joke about the situation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they've got the Weetabix probably. They just don't have the means of firing it that hard.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun in Science Corner. So in conclusion, yes.
Definitely.
Oh, that bit where he kills the driver of the card as well. I've just watched a thing on Disney Plus, which is called The Most Dangerous Animal of All, which is about the Zodiac Killer. You've heard of the Zodiac Killer, the one they never caught?
Oh, yes.
Left like coded messages in San Francisco in the 70s. But he similarly, he doesn't kill him with a card, but he kills a taxi driver in a very similar sort of gets out of the cab and shoots him. That really happened. So I think this might be a allusion to that.
Oh, I see.
I reckon. Anyway. But yes, Bullseye kills Elektra, and it's an amazing fight. It does that painful thing where she almost wins. She like really nearly beats him.
And it all comes just after, even though she's a paid assassin and just dispassionately kills her victim, is supposed to be Foggy.
Yeah.
She picks up Foggy, and Foggy realizes who it is and says, look, we were at university together, you were Matt's girl. And she lets him go. So just before the big fight that eventually kills her, she has that moment of finding some humanity in her. Before
she is moral. She does have a moral compass. Oh, it's brutal. But that could be, I think, a lesser writer or comic, it would end there. But it keeps going, keeps bloody going. And then Matt is at the morgue looking at Elektra's body, identifying her. Well, not looking because he's blind, but, you know, sensing. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Him and Foggy are there. Bullseye, which I love, has like somehow got himself in as someone working there. And it's kind of like, oh, do you normally work here? Oh, no, so-and-so had to have the day off. He was sick or whatever. Presumably he's killed him as well.
Yeah.
The guys, because he's just completely conscience-free, consequences-free. And he wants to test if Matt is Daredevil, throws a knife at him or something. It's probably a bloody Weetabix. And in one of the coolest shots of all time,
oh man,
Matt, without moving at all, just lifts, without moving his face or looking around or anything, just lifts his little cane up, and you see the dagger just stick in it.
Doing.
Proof. Brilliant.
Yeah,
So he knows. What's that from? Where it goes, he knows.
I don't know.
We don't know. He knows. There's something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So there we go. Then they have another huge fight. Daredevil versus Bullseye. But this time, Daredevil's cleverly rigged up a dummy of himself, or as Matt. So Bullseye is quite stupid as well. He can be quite duped, which I also like.
Yeah, this is the level we're talking about. We're not talking about super geniuses and stuff. No, this is a guy, he's got this ability, but he's driven by, as we say, driven by this need for revenge. And I think, you can be blinded by such things.
Yeah. So you don't see what's right in front of you, but sometimes you can see. That's absolutely right, that whole thing about if you're obsessed, if you're looking for a bad thing that someone's done, you find it. Do you know what I mean? Because of just pure, well, it's like the detective thing. He's a kind of evil detective, I guess. It's great. And also there's a bit where Bullseye goes to Kingpin to tell him that Matt murdered. But I think Kingpin at this point already knows, as we know from that later episode.
Yeah.
I think he knows at that point. So he just kind of plays it close to his chest. Oh, is he really? Yeah. Well, go and find out, Bullseye, but yeah, they have this brilliant fight, and it ends with they have this huge fight on telephone wires where they're just jumping around. It's incredible. And then it ends where Bullseye's hanging off the edge, Daredevil's holding his hand, and I think Daredevil lets him go. Is that right? He says you'll never do anything again and lets him go.
Yes, I'm looking at these panels now. First of all, the bit on the wire, I loved it because they're both balancing on the wire, and then you get a zoom in of the red boots of Daredevil. Just doing that thing that I used to do on bouncy castles with my sister. We'd be jumping up and down, and I sort of like change the rate at which I'm jumping.
Is that what he's doing? Oh,
to sort of trick her fall, and so she falls over. I think Daredevil's had a lot of time on bouncy castles training for this moment. And just does a little doing on the.
Well, in the dreadful Ben Affleck movie, there is a whole scene where they're in a playground using various swings and stuff. So maybe.
There we are. That's where it came from.
Again, though, I like that his thoughts, his brain body ratio is so good. He's able to work out as he's doing. And also you see it, like with an amazing boxing match. You see the point through the artwork where he works out how to beat him, even though it's a subtle shift. Oh, so good. But yeah, he drops him, and Bullseye is then paralyzed, and it ends with him lying in bed, in the hospital bed, and just his thoughts.
Still obsessed, still absolutely sure that he will get revenge on Daredevil. He says, something like, no matter how many months and years it takes, I'm going to put myself back together, and then I'll come for you again. My spine is shattered. I can't feel my arms or legs. I can't even talk. But man, I can hate, and that will be enough. Oh.
Just a close up on his eyes, completely bandaged body. Awesome. Awesome. Right. Well, there you go. I'm just going to give you a couple of little points from a couple of other comics. Thunderbolts 115. So he ends up joining the Thunderbolts, Bullseye does, as their sort of secret weapon. The Thunderbolts at this point are basically villains run by Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, to do Black Ops. It's a lot of fun. And he's let out to fight when it's just like, oh, release Bullseye. He's almost kept like Hannibal Lecter, do you know what I mean? Like a kind of Kate, and it's just like, right, we need to release Bullseye, and just goes in and kills everyone kind of thing. But he ends up in a fight with American Eagle, our old friend. Remember him? Jason Strongbow, I think his name was. And it is beautiful. And American Eagle kicks the shit out of him. And it's very, very satisfying. And as he's doing it, he says, you pick your targets well, fighting unpowered operators, killing civilians like a schoolyard jerk looking for little kids to kick around. And then says something like, well, try kicking me around. But like just pounds the crap out of him and ends up breaking his neck again. So Bullseye ends up once again paralyzed him. And this is where I think they do. I think that issue is great. But I think as it goes on, they maybe have lost a bit of Bullseye's menace because he has become almost like the guy people beat the crap out of. Do you know what I mean? As in he's like, because he is such a whiny little git. And I feel like I think that element is in him all the way through, but I feel like there's also a real terror and menace that they don't always,
That's a shame. That's a shame.
But it's very satisfying seeing old Jason go to town on him. So just to tell you very briefly about his first appearances in Daredevil 131 from 1976, which is quite a long time before. And you find he first appears, there's a man... I don't think I can say this. But it first appears there's a man whose name is Mr. Honeycutt. But I kept reading it as something else. Which I won't say. Every time they kept saying his name and it just kept making me laugh. But anyway, Mr. Honeycutt is he's this rich businessman who just gets a letter. Oh no, he gets a paper airplane, flies through the sky, from not miles away, but from a way away, and then goes through his window. A paper airplane cracks through his window. So we already know where this is. Okay, who's done this? He opens the note and it just says like in childish writing, pay me $100,000 or I will kill you. And he's like, but what's great is he doesn't know, he hasn't got a connection to Bullseye. He doesn't know who Bullseye is. He doesn't know anything. He's like, what is this? And then Bullseye just appears and says, have you got the money? And he's literally, no, I've just literally picked up this note. And he's like, oh, well, kills him with a pen to the neck and then leaves a big Bullseye symbol around him and a note. And he's basically just done it to drum up business. So that's where he starts. But I love that he just gives him the note and says, have you got the money? No. Okay. Horrendous. So good. Then Daredevil finds out from a journalist who interviewed Bullseye. So Bullseye is trying to get his fame out there like a serial killer, that he was in Vietnam. This would have been updated with they have a thing called the shifting timeline. So, say Punisher was in Vietnam. Now we say, oh, actually, he was in Afghanistan, that kind of thing. But he was in Vietnam and discovered he really liked it. And then at one point he was fighting, ran out of bullets, really liked killing.
Oh, I see. Not Vietnam, because I've heard Vietnam's quite nice.
Yeah. Yes, this was during the Vietnam War, sorry. Not just Vietnam generally. And then he throws a gun. He just throws the gun at this guy who's attacking him and kills him. And he's like, oh, I could just throw anything and kill anyone. And then when he comes back, he just spends all his time working out how to kill anyone with anything, which is really... He is a grade A loon, as Daredevil describes him, a grade A loon. And there's a really amazing bit, Dan, which I loved, which is where you would love, where he throws a grenade at Daredevil and you see it through the radar sense. And apparently the way a grenade works is the acid, you pull the pin and it releases acid, which burns a trigger or disconnects a connection, I guess, and then makes it explode. And you see, I mean, most of the science I understand in life is from Marvel Comics, but apparently it's true. We'll have to check with Marv Wolfman, but that was pretty cool. So yeah, right from again, like Kingpin, right from the start, he's great. Frank Miller was building on something really good already. My final thought on these three is, again, like I said with Daredevil, I think I prefer him to Batman. I think he's an improvement on Batman. He's Batman, but he's not a billionaire. He's working class. He's got a better, grittier origin, and his powers make sense. He's not just rich and got all these things. And similarly, I think Kingpin is kind of like a Lex Luthor, or Batman has a guy called Rupert Thorne who is, but he's in that sort of category. I think Bullseye is very Joker-like, and Elektra's very Catwoman. And I think all three of them are kind of an improvement.
Yeah.
In that, like, when you got Joker, I sort of, there's some Joker stories which are amazing, but a lot of the later Joker stories, he's just so irritating and not funny. And there's also that element where, like, Batman can just beat him up. And I like that he's the Joker, but he's also completely deadly.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my little controversial, maybe. But I think Frank Miller was basically improving on Batman with these stories.
I like that. I'm worried about the Mirror podcast that's obviously going through all of the DC characters.
Yeah, or when we get to our like mid-50s and we have to start, which isn't that long away actually, and then we'll start
on C. But
we'll start A. Oh God, who's A? There's actually a character in DC called Amygdala. Maybe it'll be him.
Really?
Amygdala to. So what beginning with Z? God, the coup.
The bit of the brain, the amygdala, is that?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
amygdala. Yeah, he's
Ah.
yeah, he's named after that. He's just a crazy big strong man. Great. Okay, let's stick him in the order. So we had Daredevil is now at number 1. Last week, me and Nick discussed Ant-Man, and I'm afraid Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, is all the way at the bottom, number 80.
He's really?
He's a super creep.
He's
a
the
super
worst.
creep. And the worst. So the new rule is my guest or colleague or person joining me gets to make the decision. And Nick made that decision. And, that's the way it is. So let's stick him in there.
Wow.
I reckon they're all top 20, if not top 10.
I wish I could disagree with you to make this exciting, but yeah.
Okay.
They're great. Really great.
Let's top 10 it. So if we could have the countdown, please. Currently at number 10, it's Golden Hippie, Adam Warlock. Number 9, Greed-Haired Alien, Abigail Brand. Number 8, the first Captain America, Isaiah Bradley. Number 7, Deathbird. 6, Kenneth Worthington III, Mr. Angel. 5, Apocalypse. 4, R.I.P., it's the Porcupine. 3, Captain America himself. Number 2, Master of Magnetism and Magneto. And number 1 is Daredevil.
Well, it feels like, to me, they're better than
Cap.
Like from the 6 to 10. I think they're better than all of those. I think.
Okay, fair.
I think.
Yeah, fair. I'm going to be controversial.
Yeah.
What order would you put the 3 of them in for a start?
I think. Oh, I think I'm gonna. I kind of feel like I want to put Elektra at the bottom.
Okay.
Of the 3.
Fine.
She's cool, but yeah. From what I've read, so please fill in some of my gaps.
No, I think that's fair enough. I think she's great. I think I think the more recent stories they have developed her, but I don't think for a long time they never really got past just this sexy assassin thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think there's more development, more character, more fun with Kingpin and Bullseye. So Kingpin, Bullseye, Elektra, should we say?
Yeah, I think so. And we could even slot them in like that. Like,
yeah. Do we? I'm gonna be controversial.
Okay.
I'm gonna put them above Cap, below Magneto.
Oh, what's that? Number 3 is that?
Number 3, 4, and 5.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe.
Does Elektra beat Captain America?
Cap. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. But it sounds bad that the only woman we're like, not her.
And we've got a long way to go, but
We have got a long way to go. And Storm's coming. The Storm is coming. And the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Emma Frost. There's so many. What do you reckon? I'm going to give you the choice.
Okay, I don't think she beats Cap.
Okay. Do Kingpin and Bullseye?
That's close.
All right. If it comes down to it, would you rather read a Cap story or a Kingpin story?
I think I'd rather read the Kingpin story.
Okay. He's in at number 3. The
Yeah,
Kingpin,
okay.
Big Willie Fisk. Who's next?
Okay.
Oh, thanks to I've been listening to another podcast, which I love, called Marvelous Year, and they have been calling him Big Willie Fisk. So apologies. It's a homage. I love your podcast. But everyone listen to this. Don't just listen to that one.
Yes.
Okay, so Kingpin's number 3. Bullseye, does he beat Cap?
For me personally, I think I would be far more interested in Bullseye's story.
Okay. Let's do it. I mean, you can't forget Cap is a dweeby idea, isn't it? I mean, I know fighting the Nazis, World War II, all that stuff is great, but there's still a big side of the whole Captain America man with a shield dressed in a flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm convinced. Fine.
Like, if you didn't have any of the history, you'd be like, that's a terrible character. Right?
Yeah,
okay,
I was surprised at how much I moved Cap up in my estimations after reading.
Yeah. Oh, they're good comics. They're all good comics. They're often very good. So, Elektra, between Cap and Porcupine?
Yeah.
We can't let Alexander Gentry, I mean, RIP, but we can't.
No.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a Daredevil heavy top 10. Daredevil, Magneto, Kingpin, Bullseye, Captain America, Elektra, Porcupine, Apocalypse, Angel, then Deathbird. A lot of birds in there as well. So, do you agree, dear listeners? Are we mad? Are we mad to put a big mountain of bald muscle ahead of the symbol of the greatest country in the world? TBC. Possibly that's changed recently. I don't know. Are we? Well, find out. Ask us. Tell us. Go to send a message at abombtozzzax@gmail.com. Nick will reply to your question. And also, don't forget to go to patreon.com/abombtozzzax, where you can see this order in all its glory. And you can send us more thoughts. You can send us suggestions. You can get priority suggestions. And we will read those comics. We will discuss those comics. And we'll all have a lovely time. Thank you so much for listening. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
You have been listening to abombtozzzax, my favorite Marvel character, with me, Colin Holt, and my friends Dan Snellgrove and Jamie Firth. There they go! Please remember to support us at patreon.com/abombtozzzax.